Hey everybody, I'm Coach Brian. I'm the Director of Programming here at the First Tee Colorado Rocky Mountains. We are here with you at our Golf Basics 101. Today I have with me...
Hello, Max Prendergast. I'm our Program Coordinator and Golf Equipment Manager. If you need any help or have equipment questions while you're out there, please contact me.
The purpose of this video, we're going to go through a few safety tips, safety setup tips, talk about some swing cues, hopefully get you set up for your first day in programming, whether it be on course or in school. So hopefully we'll have a little fun, keep it to about 20 minutes and get you set up for a successful time with us. First thing we want to talk about is when you arrive. There's going to be 4 things that you're going to want to know upon arrival, so make sure that you talk to your lead, whoever your lead instructor is that day. Make sure that you know how many participants we're going to have. Make sure you know the age of the participants. That's going to help with our setup. Make sure that we have an appropriate setup for the age. Make sure the golf skill that we're working on, so you know that. Make sure if we're working on grip and stance, you know that. If it's balanced finish, things like that. And then our core value or our life skill for the class. So make sure you know whether we're trying to teach respect or responsibility, or we're teaching goal ladders or whatnot. But those are things that you have a conversation with your lead. Make sure that they explain those to you. And then we also have those in the coach's resource guide and the core value cheat sheet that are resources that are available for you. First thing we want to talk about today is our general range setup. So we have for you right now is our generic range setup. First thing you're always going to want to make sure is when our participants have a club in their hand, we call it caning a club. So they are holding that metal part and they're not holding it by the grip. And we all know that this part's going to hurt a lot more than this part to get hit by. So if a participant ever has a club, make sure they are caning that club. And that is a swing cue that you will hear probably more than anything when you're out instructing. So we have our generic setup here. We have what we call our hitting station here. We have what we call our club zone back here. And then we have way back here our safety zone. So this is where we would have a participant up here swinging. We would have a participant or their partner back there waiting in the safety zone, and their club would be hanging out in that club zone. Coach Max is now going to show us the appropriate distances that we would like between all of our stations. So you can see Max is pacing it off. How many paces are you doing, Coach?
We're going to do 4 if possible, 4 or 5 if we have the space.
Very nice. And one thing we always want to make sure that we're doing too is utilizing our space. Here we have a lot of areas, space to utilize. Sometimes we are confined, but four paces is going to be the minimum that we want in between. Real quick, we'll talk about then our club zone. This is where clubs stay for any participants that's waiting to hit in the safety zone. Their clubs will stay in the club zone until they're ready to hit. Okay. We want that safety zone that's back here in the back. We want that a minimum of 8 paces, I would say, from that hitting station. What we like to say is the more distance you give yourself, the more time you have to react to a participant that might run up to give a high five to his partner or to give some instruction to a friend. All right, next thing we want to talk about is where we position ourselves as a coach within our station. A lot of times when you are at a station, you're going to be responsible for 2 hitting stations. So you're going to have to be responsible for at least 2 players, a lot of times 4, maybe 6 players. So it's very important where we stand and where we position ourselves so that we are able to see everybody and react accordingly. So we want to emphasize a lot of times we tell our coaches to coach from the back. So that's standing back here with our participants back here in the safety zone. This is where we can build our relationships with them, have conversations with them. Also, I can see everything in front of me. If one of these bolts out, I have more time to react to that participant running up there, okay? Okay, if you do want to come up on the mat, a lot of our coaches do like coming up on the mat and giving hands-on instruction. First off, I would always recommend you carry a club with you. This is going to aid first off in your instruction and showing the participant what you are asking them to do. Also, it can be a very good safety deterrent for you. So say Coach Max here is about to make a swing and I'm walking up and he doesn't see me, he swings, I can knock this away and deflect it, or at least keep it from not hitting me in the face. Maybe it hits me in the foot instead or in the shin. But it's for your safety, it's also for instruction. But like I said, if you're going to come up here on the mat, we want to make sure we maintain a 45-degree angle to the player. You don't ever want to go in between mats because you never know what this golfer behind you might do. They might get excited for a shot they hit. They might want to talk to their friend that you're talking to up here. You never know when they might step away from their mat and swing errantly. And you don't want to stand directly behind a golfer either. You never know when that golf club might come flying out of their hands. And if you're standing right here, it's very possible that you're going to catch it and wear it. So we want to make sure that you're standing at a 45-degree angle. Again, carry a club with you. Make sure that you're caning the club too, though. We want you to be an example of what we're asking the kids to do. So please, no swinging the clubs like this, because if you start doing that, you're going to have 3 or 4 kids in the safety zones all trying to grab their club to swing it and be cool like Coach Max. Okay, please, none of this. We have a lot of younger coaches that like to do cool things like this to show off. Okay, make sure that we're caning the club, using it for the purpose that it's meant, either showing the instruction or maintaining your own safety. Okay, next we're going to talk about how we transition the golfer from the hitting station back to the safety zone and make that switch with their partner. So we have Coach Max here. You can notice he's caning his club because we're not hitting yet. We're going to have Max go ahead and hit his golf ball. This is going to be his last shot, and then we're going to have him transition with Coach Clara back here. So Max hits his last shot. Max is going to put that club back in the safety zone with him. Then he's going to go back here and high five. Make sure that that high five happens in that safety zone. Make sure that partner stays in the safety zone until they get that high five. Okay? If they start taking one step the first round in front, that next round they're going to be 5 feet in front. And before you know it, third or fourth round, they're going to be right up on the mat waiting for their partner to hit and give them that high five. And they're already going to have the club in the hand. After Clara gets that high five, she can come up here, grab her club from the safety zone, and then it's her turn to come up here to the hitting station and start her turn hitting the golf balls. In this scenario, we're going to talk about how we would handle our in-school transition. It's a little bit different. In school, golfers don't have their own golf clubs, so the golf clubs stay at the mat. So we will have Coach Clara hit her last shot here. Go ahead and take your last swing there, Coach Clara. She's going to show us all how it's done. Very nice. So we're going to have Coach Clara lay that club on the mat. So club stays on the mat, then she goes back and high fives her partner in the safety zone. So in school, they don't have their own clubs, so we have the one club per station. It stays on the mat. We don't have to worry about the partner having a club in the club zone. So then Coach Max comes up and he's ready to go. Now we're going to talk about a few of the swing dynamics. We've gone over some of the safety cues and safety setups, so we're going to talk about actually some of the swing dynamics and hopefully set you up for success and make you feel a little bit more comfortable teaching the swing and what that entails. So I have Coach Max here. He's going to be my model. So first thing we're going to talk about is our grip and our stance. So we have a swing cue that you will hear a lot. It is what we call hot dog in a bun. So we, for our right-handed golfers, that left hand, that left thumb is our hot dog, and then that right hand is our bun. So we say, show me that hot dog, give me that bun, and then cover that up, and then point them at the ground. So you want your thumbs pointing at the ground. And we want to make sure that the participants have our hands together. A lot of times, especially when we're in schools with new golfers, we get those hockey slap shot grips, okay? That's just a lot easier for them to control the club. But we want to make sure that those hands are at least touching, okay? They can use a 10-finger grip. We're not overly concerned with the exact type, overlap, interlocking, 10-finger, but we want those hands generally touching, those knuckles touching, and those thumbs facing down. Next, we'll talk about our stance. So we want our stance generally comfortable, athletic stance, about shoulder width apart. You'll hear some coaches say a medium-sized pizza inside of there. So a lot of times for kids, we'll tell them think about a medium, their favorite size pizza in between their feet, okay? And like I said again, that's about shoulder width apart, nice, comfortable, and then we just want those hands to fall down and grip that club right in front of them, okay? And that's our grip and our stance. Next, we're going to talk about our balanced finish. We have a couple different layers that we do as we progress through older and returning participants. The very basics is that we just want to get those hands above our head. So we'll have Coach Max mimic his swing here. Do it nice and slow for us, Coach. See how Coach Max gets those hands nice and high above his head. Make sure that they hold that pose. So a lot of times we'll tell them hold that pose until that ball lands, or sometimes you can engage the kids in the safety zone and tell them to take a picture. So we tell them hold that pose and wait for the picture. So you'll hear kids click, 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 taking the picture. We also want to work on getting our weight to our left side, but more importantly, getting our belly button. So Max, show us how we want to make sure we're getting our belly button or our belt buckle or our chest facing our target. So we're getting through and getting that weight onto that left side. You can see Max has all that weight on his left side or his target foot. Okay, and then last final thing we're looking for our most advanced golfers, once we get past the basic finish, is what we call squishing that bug. And they're turning that back foot and they're rotating on it. And again, that gets all that weight on that front target foot and they're squishing that bug. So a couple swing cues there. We want to make sure that we're getting the hands high above our head. Okay, we're getting our chest facing our target. And then we're squishing that bug with our back foot there. Okay, and that's going to be a good, nice, balanced finish. First, I want to talk to you about our short game swings. So we have what we call two different swings. We have a chip swing and a pitch swing. We have Coach Max here today that's going to demonstrate both these different swings for us. First, he's going to hit what we call our chip swing. So if you notice, that's a very small takeaway and a very small controlled swing. And we tell the participants, how big's that swing, Max?
That's going to be knee to knee.
That swing is knee to knee. So you'll notice that club face comes up knee height to knee height, okay? That's a very small controlled swing. Next, we want to talk about our pitch swing. That's going to be a little bit bigger, so we're going to have Max demonstrate that. And Max, how big is that swing supposed to be?
That's going to be waist to waist or hip to hip.
Waist to waist or hip to hip. Those are our two short game swings that we're going to use in this next activity. Chip is knee to knee, and waist to waist is our what?
Pitch.
Pitch shot. Next, we're going to talk about one of our favorite games that we play in almost every school and almost all the courses throughout the curriculum at one point or another. We call it Penguin Flamingo Bat. You might hear it referred to as PFB sometimes. It's a game that we use for our short game, for our chipping and pitching. It teaches body balance. So we're going to have Coach Max kind of demonstrate it. This first one, we're going to have Coach Max hit like a penguin. So he's going to be hitting with his feet together here on these two shots. Okay, and he's working on keeping that silent body. So again, we're working on our body balance. We're not moving our hips. Okay, this is a very basic shot. Next, we're going to talk about flamingo. We're going to have Max hit like a flamingo. This first shot, he's going to take what we call a chip swing. So notice that swing. He went from about knee to knee with his club head. He's going to take what we call a pitch swing next on this one. So he's going to go from his waist to his waist. And notice Coach Max kept great body balance there. So this one with the flamingo, we're really emphasizing leaning into our chip shots, okay? When we hit chip shots, we lean forward and that closes that club face a little for us. And this is really just overemphasizing or over-exaggerating that weight on that front foot, okay? And Max did a great job of demonstrating great balance. Max, let's have you try and take one of those flamingo swings as a full swing. I want to see if you can keep your balance full swing. See how difficult a time Max had keeping his balance there? We want to make sure that we're keeping our balance, keeping a nice smooth chip and pitch swing, okay? So we're not taking full swings for this, otherwise we're going to have participants falling over. Okay, next we're going to talk about hitting like a bat, okay? And we're talking about a bat that flies, yes, like Max just demonstrated, a bat that flies in the caves, that's nocturnal. So we're going to have the participants hitting with their eyes closed. Okay, so this one, we're going to ask the participant to step up to address the ball. Once they are ready to chip, then they will close their eyes. We're working on our muscle memory. Okay, this is one that a lot of the participants are most nervous to try, but are most fun and most excited when they are successful at. This one's very rewarding. This one we use a lot with our core value of integrity. Okay, I can't see Max's eyes right now, so I'm trusting that he is closing his eyes on those swings.
Hello, Coach Max here, and today we're going to review our indoor safety procedure calls, and we're going to go over a few of our fun games that we play. Oftentimes we're going to be in their gym, and it's going to be a tight space. So today we're going to review those safety procedure calls. Okay, so now we're going to review a putting game that we play called putting bowling, combining our two sports, so golf and bowling. So you're always going to have a scorekeeper. We got Brian over here. 6'7". He's in the safety zone, which is in that hula hoop, which should be far away from the mat as possible. We got Ari, who's going to be our putter. Clara, who's going to be our putter. And we got Ari, who is our pin setter over there. So Clara, go ahead and flip your club over. And Clara's going to roll 2 putts. Toe to toe, tick tock. Very nice. So now Ari's going to pass the ball back. Clara can keep hanging at the mat. And we always want to keep our foot on the poly spot when we're not picking up the pins. All right, go ahead and roll your second one. Let's see if we can get a spare. Nice. All right, so now Claire's gonna lay that club down on the mat. The club always stays at the mat for safety. Ari's gonna reset those pins, and Clara can bring the ball up. So then the kiddos will rotate, and usually you'll get in 5 to 10 rounds within the class. So Claire's gonna head down to be the pin setter. Once Ari sets the pin, she's gonna come be the scorekeeper, and then Mr. Brian is gonna be our putter. All right, now we're gonna discuss the indoor setup when we're in a gym hitting full swings, chips, or pitches. So you've already seen it outside the setup. There's some small differences when we're in a gym. You may be a little more confined. The mats may be slightly closer together, so you have to be extra vigilant and aware. Coach Mr. Brian's gonna be our student over here. He's caning the club. You have your balls. You always wanna set those up a little bit away from the mat, just in case that they make an errant swing. That's gonna keep the balls from flying everywhere. You're gonna have your safety zone, which is gonna be a cone behind the mat as far back as possible. And we need to make sure the kiddos are touching the wall with their caboose or with their back. In addition to touching the wall, we also want to make sure that they're standing up, ready for their turn, and that's going to help with safety as well because the balls may go flying off the wall, and we really want to make sure that they're not chasing after those balls. So your lead, we'll go over that in the start of the class as well. All right, now we're going to review how we want the kiddos to switch when they're done hitting. So Brian, you can flip your club over, and we're gonna have this be his last shot of the round. So after their last shot, they're gonna lay the club on the mat, run back, give a high five to the next kiddo. It's imperative that we make sure the high five happens in the safety zone and that the next kid comes up after that high five. Once the round is done, you're gonna pick up the clubs from each mat and make sure you hold on to them until your lead is ready for the next round of hitting. All right, so when you're in the gym, you'll usually have 2 to 3 mats, and you're gonna wanna position yourself 2/3 of the way near the mats. So you're gonna wanna be in that center of the rectangle, like Coach Brian over here, and that way you can keep an eye on your kids in the safety zones, you can keep an eye on the people up when they're hitting. One thing we never want to do is we never want to be in between the mats for teaching. You could get hit by the swing behind you, and you just don't have an eye on all your kids for safety. So make sure we're coaching from behind. We always want to have a club in our hand. That way you can use it to slow a kid down or slow a swing down. And that's going to be key in the gym.
All right, so that was our introductory video. We hope that it helps you feel successful and ready to go with your adventures with us. Let us be the first ones to welcome you to the First Tee Colorado Rocky Mountains family. We are very excited to have you on board, and we are looking forward to working with you in the future. If you need any support, please feel free to reach out to myself or Coach Max. We are always here for you.